Now, the just concluded FOCAC summit held in South Africa has been hailed a success by African leaders. Many saw it as an opportunity to reflect on the mutual cooperation between the Asian country and the continent. China pledged at least $60 billion for development in Africa. CCTV's anchor Beatrice Marshall caught up with South African President Jacob Zuma to find out what he thinks about the growing relations between China and Africa.
Your Excellency, thank you for your time. Now, you co-hosted the Forum for China and Africa Cooperation here in South Africa. First, how significant has this been for South Africa, for you and for Africa?
Well, it has been very important, very significant. Firstly, the fact that we reached an agreement with China that the FOCAC should be held in South Africa and be co-chaired by President Xi Jinping and President of South Africa. I think almost everybody felt this summit was different from many other summits. And not just as in the manner in which it was organized, but also the content of the discussion that took place, particularly as President Xi Jinping pitched up the level by making such breathtaking announcements about what is it that he was pledging to partner with Africa. Right. It was absolutely important. It left everybody very happy, unprecedented kind of thing. There is no country that has done so in the past, and China really demonstrated it is the real friend of Africa.
It is the real friend of Africa. Perhaps we're looking at it now at this point in the sense of the win-win cooperation that the forum talked about. Where is the win-win for Africa? Where do you see the win-win for China?
Well, firstly, China is coming in. China is coming to do business in Africa, but it's not just doing business only. We have, for an example, things, potentials that we can utilize because there are blockages somehow. If you take, for an example, the issue of infrastructure, because of the colonial arrangement and how this was structured, much as we are in one continent, not divided by any sea or river, we have not been in connection. There has been no inter-trade because of the lack of the infrastructure. We need infrastructure very much. We have identified this long time ago. We raised this with China from the BRICS outreach. We also raised it when we were in FOCAC in China. And therefore China has responded to that because unlocking the connection between the countries here, that opens up the flow of the economy. China, which is part of our partner, will benefit out of it because even the goods that must move will be faster in a modern kind of infrastructure. So we both gain, but also the very fact that, as we said, this is based on trust, on benefiting both of us, is absolutely important that this would go. One of the things that China has committed itself is already doing is helping to skill our people so that we'll have a skilled kind of workforce in the continent. That is an important foundation that is also agreed with China. So all of us will be able to gain.
The 10-point plan that President Xi Jinping announced for the next 3 years, from industrialization to infrastructure to health to people-to-people exchanges, what do you think are Africa's priorities?
Africa's priority is industrialization. That is a decision taken already. Firstly, as a country, we've taken that decision of industrializing. As a region, the SADC, we've taken that decision. The AU has taken that decision, industrialization. Now, if China participates in that process of industrialization of South Africa, that in itself helps Africa to go up, but it helps China to have a continent that they are able to interact on very serious matters of industry. It's absolutely crucial to us that we develop that one. But also, it's important that many of the elements that were counted, like agriculture, for an example, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for us to export to China the agricultural products that China needs as well. There will be many others that will be done. The issue of health is one of the critical points in the continent. Health and education, to us, these are part of the priorities that China is participating already. Some African children are studying in China in big numbers. That to us is an important in terms of education, of skilling our people. Absolutely crucial that the IT issue, for an example, is also taken up, because today, if we are to do business, we have got to have IT so that your business can move as swiftly as possible, like it is happening globally. So these are very critical priorities that China is talking to in terms of the pledges that it made.